Okay, this is a very powerful speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. In this speech, the Rebbe says that he is a prophet and that his main prophecy is that the Moshiach is here. And I have a very dear friend who just passed away suddenly. He was a musician. He was known in the whole world. It was Avi Piamenta, of blessed memory. He was just a wonderful person, and um, he was not religious, and he became, religious. And he saw the Rebbe, and he just realized that the Rebbe was everything. And then the Rebbe had a stroke. This is 1991. So the Rebbe had a stroke, and then people started saying, "Doesn't this Rebbe? He's the Mashiach. The Rebbe is still the Mashiach." And other people said, "No, you can't say that. It's forbidden." So he didn't know what to say because his teachers and his advisors were. Some of them were saying that the Rebbe is the Mashiach, and some people saying you can't say that. It's not the Mashiach. And he was very confused. He didn't know what to do. And he read this speech that we're going to read now. And he said, look, the Rebbe himself said that he is the Mashiach. He said himself that he's the Mashiach. Right? So how can it was? I'm sorry, it was 1992. But the Rebbe said he himself said that he was Mashiach. So, and from then on, and he was probably the most pleasant person that I've ever met. I mean, he was just very wonderful personality and pleasant, but he was also very assertive. He's also a very good musician. Also, he played the flute. You can see all sorts of. Look it up, Avi Piamenta. Okay, let's go. Here we go. So Shoftin and Shoftin says that we have to put judges and policemen to enforce the judges. They have to be in every city because people naturally do not know what to do, and even if they know it, they don't do it. That's naturally. That's why people. That's why God created us. God created us in a way that naturally we don't want to do what God was. We don't care about. We need education. We need to be educated. Human nature is very often the opposite of what God wants, but that's why God created us. What are we going to do? So through education, through making the right choices, we can get out of it. But nevertheless, we have to be educated by the proper people. And a lot of time the education has to be enforced. So who's going to do it now? So we have to do it ourselves. Every person in the world has to be his own judge and his own policeman to enforce the judgments. Your judge essentially means that intellectually you know what's right and what's wrong, and you remind yourself. But policemen means sometimes you have to threaten yourself. You have to threaten yourself. Right? You know what's right, you know what's wrong, but a lot of times it feels good to do what's wrong. And sometimes it feels really good to do what's wrong. Huh? And sometimes it feels like really, really bad to do what's right. The example is giving charity, right? You have to take from my money. I earn money. I have to give him money. And doing wrong, you don't have to find an example. The world is filled with examples. The whole world is one big example of how doing bad feels good. Feels good. Not always, right? Sometimes doing bad feels bad. Some of your conscience bothers you. Sometimes, right? And sometimes doing good feels good. You feel good to give charity. You feel good to help people. Not always So that's why you have to have education. You have to have education to know what's right and wrong, and eventually even to enjoy what's right and to hate what's wrong, naturally. That's judges, shoftim, that's judges to know. And shotri means you have to say to yourself, hey, get yourself together, I mean, you're not going to live forever. You feel that you're the creator of the universe, but you know you're not, right? The graveyards are filled with people that thought they were the creator of the universe and that the world couldn't get along without them. And, eventually you're going to be there also. So don't go overboard. You're just a creation. That's the policeman. Let's go. Let's see the connection to the commandment of our Torah portion. shoftim v'shotrim, judges and policemen, put in all of your gates. Yeshnu Yehud. This, of course, simply speaking, this is talking about Jewish people going into Israel. This book of Deuteronomy that we're reading, Dvarim, this is Moses' last instructions to the Jewish people as they're going into the land of Israel. And so Moses is telling the Jewish people, you're going to go into Israel, you have to have law and order. Law is the shoftim. Order are the shotrim, the policemen. They're going to keep order. Let's go. So it says we have the yud, the prophecy, the goal of the prophet of redemption, Isaiah. And what does Isaiah say? Ashiva shovtayach karishona, I will put the judges back as they were in the beginning, the yoatzayach kavatchila, and your advisors like they were originally. That's what the prophet Isaiah says. And 1 second, where are the policemen over here? Isaiah is not prophesying about policemen. The one's not going to be policemen. There's just going to be judges and advisors. The sentence in the Torah says there has to be judges and policemen. Right? Why did Isaiah omit policemen and he put in their places advisors? We'll see. Like we also say in our prayer every day, we say 3 times a day. Oshevo Shavtenu Karishona, God. We pray to God, we ask God, please return our judges like they were in the beginning and our advisors as they were on the onset. Also, what's the difference between the beginning and the onset? We'll see. So for some reason, in the days of the Mashiach, there won't be policemen. There'll be advisors. Well, you won't need policemen? Let's see. Like it says many times, especially later and recently, regarding to the announcement that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, if the Jewish people return to God, then immediately there will be the future redemption. Now, what is this future redemption? The future redemption is very simple, that all of the good potential of every human being will be revealed. All of the good potential of every human being will be revealed, and the world will be according to the Torah. Good, what is good and what is bad will be what the Torah says is good and what the Torah says is bad. There won't be any more thievery, there won't be any more murder, there won't be any more depression, there won't be any more aggression, there won't be any more addictions. The world can get along without those things. On the other hand, there will be love, there'll be brotherhood, there'll be helpful, and there'll be new things, new potential, new inventions. Who knows that people would never. Shekavar Saimu Akal, says the Rebbe. In fact, we have already completed all of the dirty work of the creation. Mashiach is ready. We've even shined up the buttons for the parade. You just have to be ready, prepared. And we've already finished also to receive the face of the Mashiach immediately. Now, this whole thing is going to be brought about by Mashiach. Mashiach is going to be a proper ruler. We see in the world how important rulers are. Huh? There's this whole war raging. We just finished World War II, right? Raging, all basically because of one man. One man, right? One man got in there and he said, Germany is above everybody. Let's kill everybody. Everybody said, yo, that's there. Now, here we are. This is a leader. Now we have a direction in life. We know what to do. Let's kill everyone, right? One man started the whole thing. We see what one evil ruler can do. Stalin was the same thing. Stalin was the same thing. Pol Pot and the communists were worse than the Nazis. Because just one man, right? Mao Zedong killed 100 million people. We see the world is in the hands of rulers. If the rulers are bad, then we see the result. But if the rulers are good, that's a whole different story. In the Ochasim now we are, and all the time, says the Rebbe, if so, we should be now, somehow or other, there should be a Shiva Shabtayach for Yotzaynu. Now we should be in the time of judges and advisors. Those people that say defund the police, they've got a point. They have a point. Not a very good point, but they have a point. When everyone is educated properly and they feel their soul and they feel that God loves them, then it won't be necessary to force people to do good. You have to advise them. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Right? And the people automatically say, oh, you're right. There will be in the beginning. Just like and just like it was when it was in the beginning, which we're going to talk about. What does that mean? So let's just put everything in the proper perspective. Mashiach is the goal of creation. The Maimonides was his name was Rebbe. Maimonides is sort of like it implies sort of like a Greek name. I don't know. But his name was Rabbi Moses ben Maimon. And he wrote a book which contains the only book in Judaism, contains all of the laws of Judaism. Very serious person. Very serious person. A genius like that, there never was in Judaism. They wrote all of the laws of Judaism, including all the laws of the Holy Temple and the sacrifices and etc. But all the laws which are not even practical now, they'll only be practical when Mashiach builds the third temple, and laws that never were practical, like the Ben Sorah, Gomorrah, etc. All of the laws with all the details, everything, the whole entire Torah he has, right? And what he writes, I mean, he's not the only genius in Judaism, and there's other great holy people that disagree with him. Certain things that he says. A lot of them from them comes a lot of the customs of the Sephardic Jews and the Ashkenazi. But one thing that nobody disagrees with the Maimonides on, no one, are his laws about Mashiach. What's going to be with Mashiach? And over there he says that anyone who does not believe in Mashiach and await his arrival is denying the whole entire Torah. The whole entire Torah. Because the whole entire Torah depends on this one person to actually manifest the goal of the Torah, and that is to reveal Mashiach, upon which everyone in the world will go according to all of the laws of the Torah, especially the Jews. All the Jews will do all of the laws of the Torah. No one's going to come and replace them. You just have to believe in one man or something, or a banana or something like that. And then that's it. You don't have to do any more commandments. You are free at last and you're going to go to heaven. That's a lie. That's a lie. The goal of Mashiach is to bring the whole world back to doing the Torah, the non-Jews 7 Noahide commandments, and the Jews all the 613 commandments, all the commandments of the rabbis, and etc. But they're going to do it because that's the will of the Creator, who's creating us, who's infinitely good. Okay. Says the Rebbe, according to all the signs, we are in those times right now, and why it's not happening is not clear, says the Rebbe. It's not clear. And the Rebbe is going to try to clarify it a little bit. It must be we have to do something and clean our glasses or something in order to see what's going on. The Yuvans, that we can understand this, many details and this idea of Geula, right, of the redemption that we're going to have. We talked about it before, that Geula is Gola, exile, with just a letter Aleph inside of it. And it was just to see the truth of what reality is. Okay, but Tzion, let's understand this. The commandment that it says in the Torah, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha, you must put judges and policemen. That's what it says in the Torah, which is not the case what it talks about in Isaiah. It says, I will bring back not judges, but your judges. And also, it doesn't say anything about policemen, but it says your advisors. So the redemption that we're waiting for, Mashiach, it says there won't be judges, there will be your judges. Huh? What does that mean, your judges? We'll see. You have to judge yourself. We'll see. And it doesn't say anything about policemen like it says in the Torah. It just says advisors. Number one question, why? Why is it that in the future redemption, when Mashiach comes, there won't be judges, right? There'll be your judges, and there won't be policemen at all. There will be advisors. Question number two, what exactly are the difference between a judge and an advisor? that's going to be in the future when Mashiach. Question number 3, why does it say your judges in the beginning and your advisors like it was in the onset? Huh? And that's the language that Isaiah uses. Now, the language of Isaiah is no less exact than the language of Moses. And when he says something, he means exactly what he says. So why is it that when Mashiach comes, it says, I will give you back your judges like in the beginning and your advisors like in the onset? We'll talk about this. Number 4, why does it say your judges and your advisors in second person? And not like it says in the beginning, judges and policemen, regular. Why does it have to yours? Second person one. 3. Yesh Lomo we can explain like this. The difference between a judge and a policeman, that's in the Torah. Like Rashi says, Shoftim, that judges, these are judges that decide what the law is. That's what Rashi says. Rashi is the main commentator on the Torah, on the prophets. And Shotrim is Rodin. I'm sorry, I made the main explainer of the Torah and the Quran. Shotrim, policemen, says Rodin at the Am, they force the people. Achar mitzvatam, after the directives of the judges. The judge says what to do, and the people say, yes, Your Honor, good. They go outside and they do whatever they want to. So therefore, there are policemen and say, excuse me, do you remember what the judge just told you? Yeah, but who is he? What I'm going to do? See this this bat that I've got? Baton, whatever you want to call it. That bat? I have the right to give you a good smack across your side of your head if you don't do what the judge says. Okay, so, well, why didn't you explain it to me? I didn't realize. Of course I'll do what the judge says. What's the question, right? As soon as he knows that someone's going to enforce the laws of the judges, then he starts thinking a little bit differently, right? To go against the judge feels good. To get smacked with a bat in the head or in the back or wherever you get it, that doesn't feel good. Maybe it's not worthwhile. The good feeling of going against the judge is not worthwhile the bad feeling of getting hit by this policeman. So therefore, the policemen, they stop the people from doing what they want. Ad she'akabel labadin, and the people accept on themselves what the judge says. Kolomar, in other words, shotrim, what the Torah talks about, policemen, their whole thing is to force the people. To force the people. At Anshe Am, that they have to do the law, etc. The judges explain it. The judges treat the people like human beings. The policemen treat the people like animals. You don't want to do what the police says, you do it. But I don't understand that. I don't want to do. Listen, you don't understand it, go and ask for explanations. But you can't do what you want to. Huh? Alpize, according to this movement, we can understand why the whole thing in the future redemption, it doesn't mention anything about policemen. It only talks about judges. Why? Kavan, since in the future, there won't be any more selfishness. Ra means evil. Evil means selfishness. There won't be any more selfishness. There won't be any yetzer hara. There won't be any more urges to destruction. You won't have to have policemen that will treat the people like animals, that force them to do what the judges say. Kavan, since the call on Nashim, because all people, everyone will do what the judges, people will want to do what the judges say. The reason people will go to judges because they don't know what the law is. When the judge says it, everyone will accept it. You won't have to have policemen anymore, only judges. To teach the people what to do. Like I said before in the beginning of this class, the beginning of the last class, this idea of original sin, that people are essentially bad, is a big lie. It is not true. Every human being is made in the image of God. Image of God. But as soon as God puts the soul into the body, a person becomes ignorant. He doesn't know what's right. He doesn't know what's wrong. All he has is urges, natural urges. What's he supposed to do with these natural urges that he has? So comes woke and these other idiots, and they say, just follow him. Whatever you want, just do it. Just whatever you want to do, just do it. You're the boss. You're the boss. Well, that's a big lie, and it's very evil and very destructive to people. It's not so. We need proper judges. We need proper judges. And these proper judges tell everyone what is good and what is bad. They tell everyone. The difference between now and the time of Mashiach is, and that now people don't naturally want to do what's right, and they don't even care about what's right. They don't care about what's right. They want to remain ignorant. They want to remain like babies, selfish babies. But in the future, people won't be that way. In the future, people naturally will think, listen, I am created. This world cannot be just a big jungle, and that there's no order to it whatsoever, and that I can just be part of this whole chaos that's in the world. There must be some reason that I'm here. It must be. The Jewish people say that God gave a law. Maybe that's the law. People will be interested in the truth. And they'll go to judges and they find out, Your Honor, I want to know what's right. Right? What's the right thing to do? And the judge will tell them what's right. Automatically. And people will automatically say, oh, that's good, because they want the responsibility to the creator of the universe, and the judges will give it to them. And therefore, there'll only be necessary judges. And they'll tell the law what it is, the Hora'ah, the Torah, let's say what the Torah says to the Jewish people. Okay, why are you going to have advisors? That we're going to see that. Shlomo, we can also say, Shazem, this is also hinted at the name of this week's Torah portion. Shoftim. When we say the name of this week's Torah portion, right? Someone asks you, what Torah portion are we reading this week? You say Shoftim. You don't say Shoftim v'Shotrim. No one says it. No one says it. The name of this week's Torah portion is Parsha Shoftim. That's it. We don't say Shotrim. Why? That the name of everything, this expresses the tochen of the content of the thing. Alter says similarly also in the name of the Torah portions, as they are called, according to the custom of the Jewish people, they are very, very exact. Therefore, when you ask someone, what's the Torah portion? They say, judges, Shoftim. Well, at first glance, Ketzad Matin, how is it fit the name of this Torah portion, Shoftim, with the commandments, Shetochnu, Lechiora, Shoftim, V'Shotrim? And this, the beginning of our Torah portion, hints at two commandments. One commandment is make judges, and the other commandment is make policemen. Both of them are necessary. You have to put in all of your gates until it says in the Midrash, if there is no policeman, then there's no judge. How so? A person will go into a judge, the judge will make a decision, and he'll say that you have to pay your friend $1,000. In Ein Shota, but if there's no policeman, that goes with him, as soon as he goes out from the court, the judge has not got the ability, he can't do anything. He has to give it into the hands of a policeman. He can't trust a person on his own. Right? The judge says, 1 second, you're here for speeding. Weren't you here just a week ago for speeding? He says, yeah, I was here, but 1 second, I look at you were here. This is the 15th time you've been here for speeding. If there's no punishment and there's no one to enforce the laws, then there's no laws. Right? The judge says what the law is, and everybody just does what they want. So therefore, they have to be policemen. The explanation is, the whole idea of policemen is only to help the judges. Because if the judge is not able to enforce at mishpato his decision, the pull actually tzarichem eshoter, and therefore you have to have policemen, bali makel v'retzoa. They have what's called a stick and a whip. That will force the litigant, the kabel, to accept on himself the law and to carry it out, to do it. to follow the law. Look, therefore, Nikros and Parshas, therefore, the name of this week's Torah is called Shoftim, because the main thing is the judge. The judge is the main thing. The policemen are only there as a help to the judge. That the judge chooses, he appoints policemen. It's not a commandment on its own. It's just part of the commandment of judges. But it's part of the commandment of judges. If there's no policeman, then the judges are meaningless. Because the whole thing of the policeman is just a detail in the judges in order to enforce the justice, the law that the judge. So if so, we see that it's not really necessary that there should be policemen in order that they can do what the judge says. If a person has responsibility and he has a conscience, then he's going to do what his conscience will be his guide. His feeling responsibility will be his guide. If things are the way they should be, then you won't need this. Like I said, everyone is naturally good, but they just want to know what's right to do. So when this good is revealed, and that's the idea of Mashiach, then people automatically will want to do what's right. They just don't know what's right, so they'll go to the judge, and the judge will tell them. That's the whole commandment of the Torah. And so therefore, really, policemen are not necessary. And that which the Torah says that there has to be policemen, who it is, this is a commandment for all the generations in the desert until all the different situations. In other words, don't think that the commandment is just to appoint judges, because people won't do it. In the whole time before the first temple, especially, the people were wild. You read the books of the book of Judges. Whoa, what went on over there, right? There's 440 years from the time the Jews went into Israel until they built the first temple. Those 440 years, there were judges that ruled over, and it was like the wild west, I guess, the wild Mid East, whatever you want to call it. It was crazy. You had to have judges, policemen. Well, so therefore, the Torah says there's a place for policemen. And when, in a time when it's nidrash, shekablu adin, when people will have to be forced to keep the law. And therefore, it says in the Midrash, therefore, it says in the Midrash that if there's no policemen, there's no judges. And as the judges sit in the court, and in the court, everything is wonderful. Everything outside of the court is total, how do you say, confusion. And below Lidina, the judges are there to tell what the law is, and the policemen are there in order to keep law, in order to enforce what the judges say. To make the judges say, okay. According to this, now we can understand why in the future we won't need policemen. All they have to be is advisors. Why? Because the completion of the potential of that in the future redemption, the Jewish people, Bishleimut, will be complete. And they'll do all of what the judges say, and you won't need any policemen. It'll only be there when there are advisors to tell you what to do. And this, we're going to stop here today, but essentially what the Rebbe is going to say, that God created everyone differently, and everyone has a different personality. And to do what God wants means you're not just doing automatically with your arms and your legs, that you also do it with your whole personality, your unique way. Therefore, you have to have advisors to tell you what is best for you, how to do what the judges say in a way which is to arouse your love of God and your fear of God, and etc. And we'll talk about that, God willing, tomorrow. Okay.